Wow. This is not the appropriate music. Kotaha, who had been lurking in the shadows, steps forward. You can clearly see the size difference, height difference. They were always obviously good friends, and it's clear their close relationship was not part of Kyrie's act.
じらす趣味もないし、結論から言うね。キリエには私の方で聖アレイア学院に入る頃から命じさせてもらった。お芝居の方向性はたった一つ。破壊の美学を歌う人間。
Don't put Sister Lily Kyrie side to side, oh god. Like with acting? I mean, it is a good... how would you be able to explain how Kyrie got so good at acting, right? And I guess the answer would be Sister Lily. I guess the answer would be Rinka. Maybe.
Kotoha. お前がそう指示をしたと。
そう。と言っても、私は何も大したことをしていないけどね。こうして成功したんだから、名監督だったって言ってやるかな。
You said good actress. As far as anyone knew, until now, Kotaha had been Director Kyrie's exclusive actress. However, that was evidently only one facet of their relationship. In fact, it was the amazing actress Kyrie who'd been performing under Kotaha's skillful direction. So, like, all of the explosions Shu and fucking Yuji had to endure were also part of the act, and they were completely unaware of it. From what I remember, they said they should have already said that Rinka was Kyrie's best actress. I mean, I guess they already said that, but not in this context.
何度も言っただろう。私は女優キリエの大ファンなんだって。ことねえが私の映画でどんな役でもやってくれるっつうから引き受けたんだけどな。まあ、私たちは二人ともお互い様というわけだ。だから、キリエのキャラをさらに濃くしてしまったのは私なんだよね。ただでさえ暴れん坊だったのに。
So maybe Kyrie just has a natural talent. I mean, that makes sense as well.
褒めてるように聞こえないぞ、ことね。
The truth is that Kyrie was originally a movie buff of sorts. But the addition of the destruction-loving character trait to the explosion scene-loving director led to the creation of Kyrie everyone knows. While adopting a devil-may-care attitude in her everyday life, she's been putting on a conscious, continuous act based on Kotaha's instructions.
正直、ここまで根気よく続けてくれるとは思わなかったけど。何言ってんだことね。私の演技に半端はねえんだ。やるなら徹底的にやんねえと練習にもなるしな。
He's seen this kind of pleasant conversation between them countless times in the dorm halls. It's enough to make him realize how different he is from everyone else.
私はキリエに
Clearly.
爆弾を使えとは言わなかった。ただ、映画という媒体に生かされる上で自然にそうなった。
お前はアポカリプスを知っていたのか？
ああ、誰かさんのおかげでね。
And then Rinko shows up. A certain someone. Kido instantly catches the implied meaning behind those words. Among the 3 third-year students, there was only one person that could be.
リンカか。
そうだ。 渡良瀬学長との面談において君と同じく右の絵を選んだもう一人の人物。
The two people who were singled out by the evil serpent who'd slipped into paradise. And Rinka was infected by the same venom that poisoned Guido. Ah. You know, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
当の凛花はそのことを一度忘れてしまったけれど、私は彼女を通じてただならない事態が迫っていることを悟った。
Kotaha learned of the second coming of the apocalypse through Rinka. But unfortunately, her hands were tied, both in what she knew and what she could do.
凛花本人は私を気遣ったみたいで何も教えてくれなかったからね。でもそんな彼女が不自然な記憶喪失にあったことがくしくもその証明になった。アポカリプスというのはどうやら本当に起こるらしいって。クリスマスに起こり、街が跡形もなく破壊される週末の時、そしてその理念は破壊の美学であること。
She literally drugged herself. Yeah, that was the extent of Kotaha's knowledge before she met Shu. Not only were the specifics hazy and unclear, but she couldn't talk about them with anyone. And yet Kotaha believed everything Rinka had told her without question, taking whatever measures possible in her own way.
だから私はそれと全く同じ思考を持つ人間を用意した。それがキリエだ。と言っても最初はただ入学時の挨拶でちょびっと匂わせてもらうだけのつもりだったんだけど。
あれがちょびっと。
一発かましてやったぜ。
Kirie's performance was so spectacular, far better than anything Kotaha anticipated, that it left a strong impression on the entire student body. It do it well, not at all. An actress as skilled as Kirie doesn't do anything half-heartedly.
けどよ、破壊だの爆発だの、私みたいな乙女捕まえて、まあよくあんな物騒なこと言わせたもんだよな、ことねえもん。
A delicate flower of a girl like me. Right.
ごめんごめん。でもそれが結果的に正解だった。その後キリエの映画にも根強いファンがいると分かって、私は彼女に芝居を続けてもらうことにした。
ああ、そう。あの差し入れ、いつもありがとな。直接渡してくれりゃよかったのに。
The gifts were that were delivered to her every time she screened a new film. They consisted of high-quality props that she then blew up in her subsequent movie. These anonymous fans who were silently crying out for more destruction were like worms on a fishing hook.
いわば蒔絵か。同行の死というものを募るための装置と言ってもいい。それに犯人がキリエに注目する動機は何でもよかった。君はキリエを同志とみなしてくれたけど、同じ思想を持つ邪魔者として疎んでくれてもよかった。ただ実行者にとって無視できない存在になってさえくれれば。
I mean, she left a strong impression on him, I can tell you that. Whether their view was negative or positive, the very existence of such an unorthodox aesthetic would have been impossible for the culprit to ignore. If you couldn't actively investigate, then she would wait for them to make a move.
とはいえ、こんな当日になるまでかかるとは思っていなかったけど、ギド、君でも慎重になるんだね。
こんな可能性はさすがに想定していなかったがな。
Kirie discovered her obsession with destruction as soon as she entered St. Aria Academy. Only her friends from before, like Yune and Kotaha, knew the truth about her. Everyone she first met at St. Aria Academy accepted her the way she presented herself. And since her personality personality had never wavered in her 2 years at the academy, there'd never be a reason to doubt it.
そうか。
Yeah, they played the long game just for you. He mutters to himself, almost self-deprecatingly.
結局俺はまたあいつに踊らされていたというわけか。
ギドン、君はどうして学長の誘いなんかに乗った？比べるわけじゃないけれど、凛花はそれを無下に突っぱねたと聞いているし、私でもこんな選択はありえない。
He sneers at her before answering.
ありえない。ありえないか？ならどうするという？真面目にまっとうにコツコツと作品を作って出して張り合うつもりか？あの化け物と。
Even Kotaha flinches at Guido's sudden unbridled rage. His temper seems wildly out of character.
化け物というのは、もしかして凛花のことかい？
他に誰がいるという？俺は幼い頃からあいつを見てきている。その感性、そのひらめき、どれも規格外の化け物だ。
I know, it sounds a bit hypocritical, if you ask me.
お前はあの3枚の絵から真ん中を選んだと言ったな。お前の選考を考えれば無理のない話ではあるが、その時点で凛花との優劣は消しているようなものだ。
右を選んだ君と凛花の方が優れてるってこと？
いや、俺の方はただの真似事さ。あいつならこれを選ぶんじゃないかと思っただけだ。真に心から右の絵を選んだのはおそらくあいつだけだろう。
So you're a fraud, is what you're telling us.
あいつが外に送られた今、俺は臆面もなく言おう。あいつの芸術性には常に嫉妬の炎を燃やしていたと。
嫉妬？凛花パイセンに？
いや、それだけじゃない。嫉妬さえできなければまるで追いつくことができないと思い知らされた。
Seeing Guido so extraordinarily agitated, Kotaha simply waits, the thoughts rushing through her mind. Jealousy. It's an easy enough concept to grasp, and yet it's clear his feelings go deeper than that.
凛花という才能への嫉妬がいつも俺の心に救っていた。それだけの話だ。
凛花パイセンの意味不明な作品よりギドの方がよっぽど評価されてるじゃんよ。
お前は、いや、お前を含むほとんどのやつは分かっていない。あいつの表現がどれだけ素晴らしいものか。嫉妬さえできなければというのはそういう話だ。あれを理解できない人間は嫉妬すらすることができない。
That's not how it works.
故に俺はそいつらを見下しているよ。愚かだとな。
There was no art better than Rinka's, and Guido hated himself for knowing he could never get close. Despite the high praise and recognition he received at the academy from his teachers and peers, he could only ever see himself as a failure.
凛花パイセンの作品ってあれだろ？卵で作ったペガサスとか落書きみたいなよくわかんない絵とか。
そうだ。あいつはそれを作品と芸術と呼んだ。理解できるか？
Nope. Kiria shakes her head almost immediately, and Guido sneers in response.
その演技ができていれば俺はお前に惚れていたかもな。まあいい。だが本来あれを理解できないというのは恥ずべきことだ。芸術とは美しいもの。そう教え込まれていた俺たちに、あんな発想は利害の利だった。空から木が生えてきたかのような衝撃だ。 これまでに抱いていた芸術観が一撃で破壊された気がしたよ。あの感覚は今でも覚えているし、恐ろしくなる。だがそれを理解不能と切って捨てることこそが愚か。あれを新しい芸術の形と認めなくてはならなかったんだ。
I mean, like, you know, the stream is messing up. I don't know. Listen, that was the problem. All right, Rinka essentially created a new art form that the school didn't want, and that's why something they didn't want her.
ことは、お前はどうだ？お前も凛花の作品に何かを感じっていたはずだ。あれは決して友人だからという建前じゃあるまい。
そうだね。私も凛花のことは天才だと思っている。それがなぜかはうまく言葉にできないけれど。
Lagging? I mean, my model always lags. I don't know what. My model always lags when I'm using Magpie.
ああ、そうだ。その通りだよ。だから俺もお前も凡人なんだ。
Dream I meant. Yeah. I don't know.
もっとも、あいつの才能に気づくことができるという時点で、馬の骨よりはマシな凡人というだけだ。
Rika's genius artistic ability, just like Kotaha once lectured Shu about. Now Guido is lecturing Kotaha, but on a much grander scale. His breathless voice is evidence of the adoration and jealousy he holds in his heart for her work.
なぜキャンバスを破くような発想ができる？なぜ卵の集合体にペガサスと名付けられる？そしてなぜそれを臆面もなく作品として発表できる？
This is coincidentally enough happening just as Sister Lily lectures Shu and Yune on modern art. Yeah, I mean, like, this whole town, this whole town's what's the word? Essentially, Rinka was like the antithesis to what the whole town's goal was. The works Rinka has created thus far have, no matter how absurd they might appear, pushed the boundaries of what is considered art. She would have been the if she was in the town for a bit longer, she would have been the fucking urinal. She would have, yeah.
そんななぜこそが凛花の与えてくるメッセージ。奴の作品に心動かされた時点で、それは認めざるを得ないものとなった。
Like Duchamp's fountain. Bro, I just mentioned it! Ain't no way. 100 years back, Rinka's artwork was a revolutionary step forward in the town's accepted artistry. Of course, the people who helped shape the town, the teachers, frowned on her work, making it out to be bad and labeling her a troublemaker. However, it didn't stop gifted students like Guido and Kotaha from appreciating her work. The knowledge that he could never even hope to create something on that level, stoked the flames of Guido's jealousy, driving him mad.
無論、それが俺にとって新たなモチベーションとなっていたことも確かだ。だが、いくら真似てもあいつの劣化にしかならない己の発想に、やがて嫌気がさしてきた。サイレント映画は少しでも近づけたかと思っていたがな。あれはあれで続かなかった。 以前なら小躍りしていたようなアイディアやインスピレーションさえあいつの作品の前では霞む。そのうち俺は俺という才能に絶望するようになった。
Duchamp's posthumous, I guess, work cemented his status as a revolutionary artist, while Rinka, who's still very young, retains an enthusiastic passion for her art. Assuming they are both running on the same rails, it's no wonder he felt he could never surpass her.
そんな時だ。渡良瀬と会い、あの作品を見せられたのは。
That was when Soichi Watarase took advantage of the darkness in Guido's heart. He couldn't produce a new work of art, and the crafty serpent offered a bite from the forbidden fruit to solve his problem.
少しでも林家へ近づきたくて右の絵を選んだ俺に、あの男は魅惑的な観念を俺に勧めた。
破壊の美学か。
そうだ。それは俺にも林家にもない新たな価値観だった。それだけに俺はすぐ魅了された。キリエがその単語を持ち出してきた時は確かに気になって仕方なかったがな。だがいい隠れ蓑だと思った。
Guido objectively describes the exact path that led him to this point. It was as if he were rewarding them for having seen through his plan.
そうして選ばれた俺は、この町の地下で渡良瀬に様々な教育を施された。外の芸術論とやらを多く聞いたかな。俺はとにかく林家に並びたかった。超えたかった。そのためなら悪魔にだって身を捧げた。
I mean, you kinda did. Guido describes the jealousy always burning brightly deep in his soul. It was why the provocative ideologies that Watarase taught him were almost intoxicating.
渡良瀬はそれまでに俺が作り上げてきた作品のほとんどを壊した。俺の目の前で蹂躙するように。これこそが破壊、これこそが真の芸術なのだと。過去の自分に決別すると誓った俺に意見は許されなかった。最初は憤怒に打ち震えたが、受け入れるしかないと理解した。あの男が言ったように、俺の作品なんて塵も同然なのだから。あの林家に比べれば。
Yeah, but this this makes even less sense, right? Because the whole point of this experiment, I guess you could say, this project, was to create a world that didn't have modern art in it, technically, right? Which is why they got rid of fucking writing systems, reading systems, made sure no one knew how to read, so that they could only focus on art pre-1900s modern art era, right? So, like, why is Watarase doing this? And you know the worst thing? I guess Shu knows, right? Because Watarase's dead. So then, like, I guess the only person who could tell us is Shu. But then again, where does Sakuya fit in all of this? You know, you know, no, I he clenches his fists painfully, hard as he shuts out his past humiliation. Having something like that forced upon him must have meant something to someone like him. There was no louder voice than his own and saying how garbage his work was. Should be addressed soon. Of course it would be. Watarase, wait. Okay, you fucking Steam notifications blocking the... There's no louder voice than his own and saying how garbage his work was. Watarase used Guido's fierce jealousy as a tool to successfully motivate him into learning about destruction.
そんな頃だよ。初めての文化祭を迎えたのは。
クリスマスだね。リンカがアポカリプスの思想を知って私に教えてくれた日だ。
Rinka snuck into the basement room and learned all about the town's taboo secrets. And yet, all of that would be immediately forgotten. Would be almost immediately forgotten.
クリスマスを過ぎて3日か。戻ってきたリンカは牙を抜かれていた。コトハは覚えているか？
忘れもしないよ。懺悔室から帰ってきたリンカはそれまでの外への情熱を全て失っていた。
あれがドラッグの持つ作用らしい。だが俺はあの様子のリンカに痛く失望を覚えた。
失望？
奴の才覚が消えてしまった気がしてな。事実、しばらくリンカはおとなしかっただろう。それに態度だけではない。あれがあって以降、あいつの作品もまた丸くなった。
そうだね。生徒としては多少真面目になったという感じだったけど。
この町での真面目など意味がない。
As a recap, Guido and Kotaha are both considered prize pupils at the academy, with no others even coming close. As prize students, they possess outstanding creative and technical skills, enough so to create work that meets the town's definition of truly beautiful art. While Kotaha and Rinka became close friends despite their completely different art styles, Guido constantly compared his work to hers, fueling his tireless rivalry.
だが、俺はようやく手に入れた。自分だけの表現、自分だけの芸術、他の誰にもできない俺だけの作品。
Unlike Rinko, who was drugged with Muse, Guido was Watarase's pet project, was afforded all the same privileges the teachers had. But can he read? He knew about the world, how to write. Oh, he did know. And all about how to write and all about the town. So jealousy turned into revenge. Yes. Yes? I don't know. The boy who should have stayed in this town forever died 2 years back upon seeing Cross's Lost Paradise.
それが俺、柊義堂という人間だよ。答え合わせはこれでいいか？
教えてくれてありがとう、ギド。君がそこまでリンカを妬んでいたとは知らなかった。
俺からすれば、あいつの才能に気づきながらああもむつまじくしていられる方が謎だ。ことは、あれは本当にスか？
I like how he says his name like his last name is meant to be a big reveal, but they just completely brush it off.
素だよ、もちろん。偽りの友情とかじゃないから。
Like, none of the characters are reacting to his last name in this scene.
でも、そういう意味じゃ、私は義堂ほど芸術家ではいられなかったのかもね。
Of course, Kotaha is an unrivaled artist, but aside from that, her ability to form interpersonal relationships makes her smarter than Guido. Correct. But Guido has no interest in that type of intelligence.
キリエ、お前もだ。演技というのは分かったが、本当のお前はどこにある？
どこにも何も 最初っから見せてる通りだよ。壊すことが好きってこと以外の全部が本当の私だ。
美を自由と語ったこともか。
あとお前は私の自由を倫理がないって言ったけど、それは違うぜ。私はそんなつもりで言ってるんじゃない。自由だからって何でも壊すとか何をしてもいいってわけじゃねえ。少なくともそれは美しくない。
The point of the freedom Kiryu is referring to isn't to breed chaos, but having freedom of expression can lead to the creation of truly beautiful things. Like Twitter, right?
ただ人の考えよりも優先する決まりなんかないってだけで、そいつが自分で決めた結果がいい子ちゃんなら何も文句はないわけよ。
One shouldn't have to force ethics, but the morality that exists at the end of freedom is beautiful. What she advocates for is limitless, so very different from this aesthetic that only promises anarchy and chaos.
だからよ、例えばオーロラの外に出ちゃいけないなんて決まりがなくなったとして、でもその上でみんなが望んでこの町に住もうって決めたなら、それは本当に美しいことなんじゃねえのかな。
That is her aesthetic. By breaking free from the invisible chains that bind this town, you can finally be free, which is the most beautiful state of being.
撤回。理解はできんな。お前ならもっと無秩序なことを好むと思っていたが。
んなことない。ルールがあるからそれに反抗したくなるだけで、なけりゃ意外と気にしないだろ
う。義堂、そういう君の美学はただ全てを壊すだけなのか？
Correct.
ああ、そうだ。凛花が芸術の枠組みを破壊したのなら、俺は破壊そのものを芸術と捉える。
Yeah, but Rinka isn't trying to fucking kill people with her artwork, is she? His twisted aesthetic seems to have been born from his jealousy over Rinka's talents. Guido Hiragi may have suppressed his teacher, Soichi Watarase, regarding his obsession, surpassed his teacher, Soichi Watarase, regarding his obsession with destruction. Yeah, but Watarase only did it so that he could make a fucking artwork that could cure his illness. So that he could afford the care that could cure his illness. But then the worst part is that Watarase fucking died before this could happen. So now there's no point in it in a Lost Paradise 2. Is he trying to artistically recreate his feeling of loss from watching his art destroyed in front of him?
琴葉、お前はどうだ？お前の美学は
naked painting. I mean,
私の美学は決して大したものじゃないよ。ただありのままにあることが一番美しいと思うし、だからこそ風景画を描いている。
God created everything with his own hands. And Kotaha's way of thinking seems to be based on that logic. It's unnecessary to fix, break, or add to things that already exist. For her, beauty comes from a kind of emulation. The world is most beautiful when you leave it the way God intended.
私は今の世界に不満がなくて、凛花はあった。それだけのことだよ。
こんな狭い世界に閉じ込められて、お前は満足なのか？
Oh. I was not expecting a different CG. The atmosphere between the three of them suddenly grows still, as if frozen. Kotaha closes her eyes for a brief moment. That feels like an eternity before speaking from her soul.
狭くなんかない。
だが外は
外じゃない。
Despite her decidedly quiet tone of voice, Gita can't help but feel let down as her words shoot straight through him.
この町の外がどうなってるとか関係ないんだよ、そんなのは。今まで一度だって私たちにそれが干渉してきたことがあった？
Also, they don't have coats on. Bro, we are like 80 hours through the game. Why are you talking about coats now?
それは
He didn't know anything about the outside world's affairs before he met Watarase. Despite the outside world always being treated as forbidden, the town was self-sufficient enough that there was no need to think of it. When he called their world small, he didn't mean physically or geographically. But did he truly consider it to be that narrow?
キリエがいて、リンカがいて、君もいた。最近ならシュウ君も。私たちが生きてきた町はこんなに大勢の人がいる。外のことは正直わからないよ。何も知らない。だけどこの世界で生きてきたのは私たちだから。毎日学校に行って制作をしてご飯を食べて、同じことの繰り返しでもその度にいろんなことが起こってた。いい出来事も悪い出来事も。なんだって覚えてると言いたいけど忘れちゃってることもある。いろんな楽しいことが次々に起こるから。私にはそれが精一杯。今でさえ拾いきれないことがいくつもあった。知らないことが多くて悔しくなるくらいだけど、私はとても満足してる。
To Kotaha, her life is her world. There are many uncertain, unpredictable unknowns in the wide world, where someone's daily routine is of simply walking to school might not go as planned.
もしかしたらこの街は外っていう巨人からすればちっぽけなものなのかもしれない。でもここは私にとってたった一つのかけがえない、どこまでも広がってた世界なんだ。
I mean, this is a good philosophy to have when you're comparing the whole Earth to the vastness of the entire universe, right? And I mean, they're going down that exact route when Sister Lily compared the Aurora to the Earth in comparison to the Earth to the universe. I don't know if I said that right. But you get what I mean. Kotaha pauses before continuing. She turns to Gito with a small, gentle smile.
君もそう感じていたんじゃないかなって思うんだけど。
It is, to use a metaphor, similar to the viewpoint of a child. Just as half of an adult's stride is equal to one full step of by a child. There was a time when a simple stroll felt like a great adventure. But would you look back at the same childish world and think it is small? Would you look back at the dazzling wonder you experienced with each step, finding it uninspiring?
いいんだよ、ギド。私にとってでいいんだ。無理に背伸びをする必要はない。少なくとも私は今までこうして育ってきたことに多少の誇りを持っているから。
No matter how big the world might be, a single person can only take up so much space. This town might be pretty small compared to the country or the prefecture, but it's large enough to house a sizable student population comfortably. Kotaha is able to reaffirm her own identity due to broadened horizons, thanks to everything she learned of the outside world from Shu and Rinka.
なるほど。認めよう。確かにこの町は広かったさ。だから盛大に散らしてやろうと言っている。
それは君の言う作品のために。
ああ、そうだ。己が芸術のため。それなら理解できるだろう、琴葉。
Kotaha immediately dismisses Guido's spellbound comment, utter stupidity.
できるはずがない。キリエの言う通り、芸術のためと称して何かを壊そうと思うことにも理解ができないし、その結果として生まれるものに美などない。
作ってみなければわからんさ。何者もな。
そもそも私は今の君が義堂だとは信じられないくらいだ。まるで別人のようだと思う。
残念ながらこれが本来の俺だ。2年前からずっと俺は俺として生きてきた。何も変わらない。
Yeah, just like Kyrie's been the same old Kyrie for the past 2 years. Guido should know himself better than anyone else ever could. However,
いや、変わるさ。私が今まで接してきた君と今の君は決定的に違う。間違いないよ。
she goes on to admit her intuition is the least accurate form of measurement. It is unusual for a person to be defined by someone else, aside from a fortune teller. Guido has every right to frown in response. Yet even so, there is something she needs to tell him.
わからないか。仕方ないな。こういうのはあまり柄じゃないんだけど。
With a nod of respect to Kyrie's superb acting. Yeah. Kotaha unleashes a wave of fury, the likes of which have never been seen before and never will again.
目を覚ませって言ってるんだよ、君は。そんなに弱い男じゃなかっただろう。
ことね。
She doesn't notice Kyrie, who's still by her side. Kotaha gives in to a torrent of emotions, wanting to express how she feels to her friend in front of her.
義堂の作る作品は美しかったし、影響も受けた。今でも君のことを手本にしている技術はいくらだってある。
She continues speaking. As dorm directors, both of them acted as role models for the St. Aria students over the past year. While he might not have set the best example with his eccentric behavior, his grades and work were flawless, which is why she trusted him so much. And outside of their duties, the two maintained a friendly rivalry. In winning and losing trophies in turn, their competitive nature pushed them to create magnificent works of art. The high quality of their work was comparable despite their different fields, with each putting everything they had into besting the other.
私たちが初めて出会った時のことを覚えてる？私は君にドン引きしたけど、一緒に立派な芸術家になろうって語ってくれたのは嘘じゃなかったはずだ。
Together, they would become renowned artists, with countless works displayed in the gallery. Kotaha had been shocked speechless, hearing such bold claims come from a mostly naked guy. But on seeing his work, she realized he meant every word.
凛花の作品が素晴らしかったからなんだって言うんだ。君の作る作品だって負けないくらい美しい。
They're also a completely different style. You're a fucking sculptor, not an oil painter.
君が1年生の初めに出したイースター展の時刻像で、私はそのデフォルメ具合に衝撃を受けた。 少し真似してみようとしたけど、うまくはいかなかった。次のジュノー展では大賞を取られたし、出展した魔物にも驚かされた。まさか木彫りをしているなんて知らなかったし。
こと。
Not satisfied with just that, she goes on to list every single one of Guido's works, explaining how each piece inspired her in some way.
お前が去年の文化祭に出した首飾りの少女も、いい意味でお前らしくない境地に達していたようで、俺は好きだったかな。
あれも君の階段を下る彼女に着想を得ている。騙し絵のような仕掛けを取り入れてみた。
I mean, yeah, but like, creating an optical illusion through a sculpture is a lot more is a lot more impressive than a painting.
なんとなく思っていたが、やはりそうか。まあ、光栄なことと言っておこう。
The two reminisce on the past both times when Kyrie was and wasn't there, complimenting each other's work. There have never been students like them in the history of St. Arya Academy. They stand out as two of the finest artists.
だが、そんな俺たちの作品も。
凛花のものに比べたらって？君は本気でそう思っているの？
She interrupts him, her tone demanding and cold. Her voice is a mixture of anger, sorrow, and sympathy, all wrapped into one.
確かに凛花の作品は既存の枠組みを破壊するすごいものだ。だけどそれが何？古典という価値はわかるだろ？古いジャンルが新しいジャンルに飲み込まれるなら、美術回廊にだってあんないろんな年代の作品は置いてない。確かに凛花の作品は既存の枠組みを破壊するすごいものだ。だけどそれが何？私たちのやってきたことへの否定にはならない。
Okay.
ギド、君はただ拗ねてるだけだ。自分の作品が本気で無意味だと思っていたなら、君は今も作り続けていないだろう。
He was so devastated by Rinka's work that it urged him on to greater efforts, proving how much of an expressionist he is. Even if his actions were colored by despair, there is no doubt how inspired he was, which translated into the numerous works of art he went on to create.
君はきっと今でも不安に思ってる。アポカリプスなんてものを実行しても凛花を超えられるかどうか。
違う。
No, she's not. She's not wrong. He manages to hit a bullseye on the singular doubt buried in his heart. It's the reason why he's been unable to escape from under Watarase's shadow, and why he felt the need to explain his grand vision to Kyrie, his would-be savior. He had told himself that his final work of the Apocalypse, what a name, would be the greatest masterpiece of all time. Because it was his last hope. I just had a thought. Were vampires inspired by mosquitoes? What the fuck? I don't know. The idea that even the final piece might not be enough ate away at him more than anything else. The better question is, were vampires inspired by vampire bats? Or were vampire bats inspired by vampires? Think about that one. Which one got the name first?
だから君は凛花に届かないと感じたその過去ごと消し去ろうと思ってるんだ。私はそんな卑怯なこと許さない。
Not just the past, but the town along with it.
私たちは表現者である限り、壊すんじゃなくて、作ることで表現し続けなきゃいけないんだよ。
As students raised in a town that so highly values the art, it's their destiny. For Kotaha, who thought Guido knew that better than anyone, it pains her to see him reduced to the state.
君がどうしてもクリスマスにこだわった理由も私はわかる。
ヨハネの黙示録だ。
Don't fucking copy paste the fucking Wikipedia. Just what? So it was a way to explain what happens after death. Right.
違う。
He derived inspiration for the apocalypse from the Book of Revelation. And yet, despite all that, there is no mention of Christmas in the final book of the Christian Bible. True. I don't know why he's doing it on Christmas. While he could chalk it up to simply being a holiday, Kotaha refuses to believe he'd base his actions on such a trite reason. I mean, yeah, but then again, the only time you can hear the sound of 7 trumpets is during Christmas. So who knows?
アレイヤ祭の作品を発表できる今日この時を楽しみにしてたんだろ?
Yeah, but like, you know, did he destroy it like he did in Guido's in the sub story? Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. Right? Hearing such words coming from a classmate he grew up with and who shares his vision shakes him. In contrast to his attempts at winning her over, Kotaha approaches him as a friend, an equal.
いつだって良かったはずなのに、わざわざクリスマスまで待ったのは自分の作品をみんなに見てもらいたいから。違う。
His silence is all the affirmation she needs. She chuckles softly. Relieved, she says,
私と同じだ。
同じ。
あ、どうしてクリスマスにこだわるんだろうって考えたら、私にはそれしか思いつかなかったから。最後のアレイヤ賞を狙うのは当然だよね。私たちなら。
It wasn't hard for Kotaha to figure out, mainly because there simply wasn't any other possible explanation.
関係ない。俺の世に出すべき作品はアポカリプスのみだ。それ以外はどうでもいい。
I mean, yeah, but if that's the case, then why did you spend so much time building a sculpture?
嘘だよ。だって、君の作った嘆きは素晴らしい作品だったもの。
What Guido is doing would be like ending humanity by a nuke on Christmas. No, that's not, no, what?
どうでもいいなんて思う人間が作った作品じゃない。あまり私を舐めないでよ、ギド。君が魂を込めたかどうかなんて、一目見ればすぐわかるんだ。
Kotaha berates him for understanding how observant his classmates are. It's hard for her to accept Guido as the cowardly in the cowardly state he's in. He needs to face his works head on.
自分の作品を発表して、私たちの作品を見たかった。それが全てだろ。アレイヤ賞の発表は明日だけど、自分の中でなら消化できる。 ギド、君がとても負けず嫌いなことは私もリンカもよく知ってるよ。
In the modern times, I meant, or in the real world. Bro, this is modern times.
私との賞レースは今のとこ引き分け。リンカとのチェスもそうだよね。どっちもそんな中途半端な決着を認める人間じゃないだろ、君は。でも、ああ、だからか。芸術っていう畑で負けを認めちゃったから、チェスで余計に勝ちたかったんだね。君らしいよ。
くだらん。チェスなど所詮遊びに過ぎない。
I mean, it's become a sport now, so despite his unwaveringly brusque attitude, it was becoming increasingly clear she had hit the nail right on the head. They're beyond superficial remarks, being close enough to know exactly how much each other feels, how each other feels.
私もリンカもそんな君の性格が好きだったよ。君のフクロウを放つアテナが誰かに壊された時、私はどうやっても無理だと思った。一週間で治せるだなんてそもそも思えないから、ただ犯人を恨んだ。でも君は違った。怒るより悲しむより、目の前の展覧会だけを見てあれを完成させた。誰も想像できなかった形で。
Chess, Japanese chess should be called chess instead of shogi. Fuck off.
そんな君の姿は美しかったよ。私にもリンカにもない君だけの美徳だ。
As evidenced repeatedly, Kotaha really looks up to Guido as a person. She's known for a long time now how worthy he is of that adoration, and their words resonate with each other because of their mutual trust.
その裏で俺がこの計画を進めていたと知ってもか。
知ってもだ。君がそんな闇を腹に抱えていたのは知らなかったけど、それでもあの時に見た君の姿も作品も嘘じゃない。
Kotaha is trying to pull out the humanity in Guido. Kotaha is trying to pull out the humanity in Guido himself, as well as his work. Just as he once so boldly stated that to look at his work is to know him intimately, Kotaha understands Guido and his art are essentially the same. If his work acts as an expression of himself, Guido Hiragi, then it stands to reason that if his work is beautiful, then so is he.
だから言ってる。アポカリプスなんて作品はクソくらいだ。全く美しくない。
Then Guido can't help but burst into laughter hearing one of Kyrie's trademark phrases coming from Kotaha. Her uncharacteristic comment emphasizes how out of character he's been himself.
これが凡人の限界というやつかもな。
And then, as if closing the door on his cruelty up until now, he slumps his shoulders, chuckling bitterly to himself. It's his way of showing showing he has nothing more to say on the subject.
諦めてくれるのか。
はあ 諦めるさ。お前たちにこうも説教されてはな。
And then Riku comes out of the comes out from the shadows. just in case, you know, just in case Guido is faking it. She just sneaks up behind him and whacks him on the back of the head and knocks him out.
よもやキリエなどに諭される日が来るとは、俺も終わりだ。
別にいいだろ。たまには私が正論言ったって。
理屈で納得したわけではないよ。ただ、お前たちの熱に少し浮かされたのは事実。
By admitting to himself that his emotional balance had wavered just enough, he finally announced his plans for the apocalypse were over. I mean, yeah, they have to be. It's like 12 a.m. now. It was also the very first time in his life he'd ever given up on a piece.
ギド、帰ろう。幸いにも何も起きずに済んだんだから。
Okay, now you've said that.
帰る？はて、そんな場所が俺にあるだろうか。
At that moment, both Kotaha and Kirie noticed something odd in his demeanor. He'd been calm this entire time, but right now, he was almost too calm. Like I said, as soon as everything is almost good, that's when they hit you with the but actually. With his blazing passion and extinguished, there was a feeling of sorrow and emptiness around him.
最後の審判は今終わった。咎人はただ地獄に落ちるのみだ。
I mean, if he isn't going to blow up the town, the next best thing is himself. So, like...
あれはブルーか。
The object Guido takes out is a Brooker, which they disposed of the other day. And even more unbelievably, it's real, still alive and ready to explode.
どうして全部取っ払ったのに。
念を入れてスペアくらいは持つだろう。とはいえ、一つあったところで焼け石に水なのは変わりないからな。
His apocalypse cannot be achieved with a single Brooker. It's not even close to being powerful enough to take out an entire town. Evidently, the dismantling and disposal of all of them were instrumental in preventing his plans. But it takes a lot less to destroy only a single person.
離れろ、お前たち。その距離では巻き込む。
What'd I tell you?
何さっきよりトンチンカンなこと言ってんだ、ギド。爆弾だぞ、それ。
God damn it, I had to think about it again. I had to think... Okay. God damn it. Just like when all of... just like what happened during World War II when all of Hitler's plans failed. Guido's gonna kill himself. God, I already compared him to Hitler once. Last stream,
知っているとも。お前と同じく。だから離れろと言っている。
Look, at least this time, I'm not making a joke at the expense of the victims. I'm doing it at the expense of the culprit.
ギド。
Kotaha watches Guido, who looks like a man possessed. His expression is that of a man who's made peace with his own death.
止めてくれるな、コトハ。キリエ。最後に認められる負けができて本望だ。
World War II Part 2. That's called the Cold War. I know what... That was the Cold War.
バカを言うな、ギド。まだ私との決着だってついてない。
いや、構わない。アポカリプスという作品は完成させられなかった。それが全てだ。 この町の人間は誰一人俺のような存在をそばに置きたくはないだろう。
This indomitable man who's fixed a half-destroyed work of art in a week could not bring his vision to life. Once he accepted that reality, it became obvious to him that his only choice was to end his own life. His inability to do anything half-heartedly is the basis behind all of his creations.
まだ伝えてなかったけど、リンカだって今はこの町に帰ってきてる。今からでも勝負しようと思えばできるんだ。
知らんよ。琴葉にも凛花にも俺は感謝をしているさ。これまでの過程が無駄だったとは思っていない。だからといってお前たちの言うことを素直に聞き入れるわけじゃない。
死ぬぞ、そんなの絶対死ぬぞ。
そうだよ、死ぬんだ。未練は残るが仕方ない。低劣な芸術家として生きていくくらいなら死んだ方がマシだ。
But Kotaha's entire speech was all around how you aren't an inferior artist, you fucking...
ギド、君は本当に私が言ったことを分かっているのか？私たちもリンカもシュウ君もみんな君のことを大切に思っているんだ。
聞けない。凛花だろうとシュウだろうと俺の行動まで決める権利を与えたつもりはない。
What do you mean? The whole entire reason you're doing all of this is because you feel inferior to Rinka. What? Does Rinka's opinion not matter? What do you mean? Gita remains unwaveringly resolute in the face of Kotaha's passionate plea. And now this is when now this is when Rinka sneaks up behind Gito and knocks him in the back of the fucking head so that he doesn't blow himself up. It's that easy. Their words born from desperation had no effect on a man who's long since made up his mind. He meant it when he said he won't let anyone interfere with his personal business. That wasn't the situation with the apocalypse.
おや、雪が降ってきたな。ちょうどいいか。ブルーカの降らす雪よりも自然の方が美しい。
Okay, you know what? Nature is basically just telling you to do it. Alright, so you know what? Fuck it. Right? It's 10:33 p.m. What? For me, it's been 5 fucking hours. What? They've been talking for that long. It's only been 33 minutes. And just like across every other timeline, the snow begins to fall into the town. 10:46 p.m. Oh yeah, for you. If only I got to this point faster. Seeing it as stylistically beautiful, he prepares to scatter himself among the snowflakes.
さようならだ。後輩たちにもよろしく言っておいてくれ。
He's ready. There's no cloud of doubt in his eyes. This man prepared to die is saying his last goodbyes.
ダメだ、キリエ！
Seeing Geto's fingers already fiddling with the brooker, Kotaha hurriedly pulls Kirie back as she attempts to leap forward. One push and it'll explode, scattering fragments everywhere, including pieces of his body and his clothes. This is a fact, not a metaphor. Even with a far weaker test brooker, it's obvious what will happen to a human body when it hit with power destructive enough to lay trees to waste. He will die. It'll be instant. He stated the girls are powerless to stop him. Knowing exactly what the gentle smile on his lips means, the two girls closed their eyes, envisioning his tragic end. Just then...
やめてください。
Finally! What? Hey, why is it taking so long for you to show up? Is this the arrival of fate they've been waiting for?
今の
With snowflakes falling from the sky like tears, an all too familiar voice echoes out in the winter night.
あなたを止める権利、私にはありますよね、兄さん。
There it is! Look, I thought about Sakuya and Shu being siblings. I was not thinking about Sakuya and Gito being siblings. Chapter 12, Part 6, A Holy Night with No Dawn, my dear. Of course you're gonna fucking go to the next chapter after that. Ah, shit, my bitrate. It's so quiet on this holy winter night that you can hear the sound of the snow falling on the ground. Everyone present freezes in dumbfounded surprise at the unexpected newcomer. One person's hand stopped moving, one is struck with wonder, and one is honestly delighted. The silence is seemingly endless. He suddenly breaks the silence, acting as if she was sitting down to eat dinner.
久しぶりに外の空気を吸いました。冷たいですね。
The sound of her voice breaks the three from their spell, bringing sense to the nonsensical. She has come back.
昨夜お前地下にいたはずじゃ。
Yeah, what the fuck have you been doing, like, this past month?
なんか、すごい身のこなしで無理やり入ってきた方がいまして、映画では拝見していましたが、実際にお会いするのは初めてでしたね。
I may gift you the VN in advance through Steam Wallet. What?
ご丁寧に教えてくれたんですよ。こんなところにいなくても、地上は無事だからって。
Sakuya explains how she came to be here while simultaneously sensing somehow that the apocalypse has ended in failure. Everyone's attention centers on her.
それでお前は出てきたと。
She's Never mind. I was gonna turn that into a coming out of the closet joke.
今回どうなるかはわからなかったので、地下に閉じこもっているのは不安でした。でも、どうやら正解だったようです。
Sakuya continues talking to Gito without a word of greeting to the other girls, despite her absence. Their, oh my god, not this word again, tete-a-tete, seems strangely natural and intimate compared to their usual interactions.
昨夜だよな。
I guess they didn't hear Sakuya calling Gito brother.
1ヶ月ぶりかな。お久しぶりです。キリエ先輩、琴葉先輩。
That's when they realize Sakuya had said something a moment before that was too shocking to let slide. Okay, I was gonna say.
兄さんってさっき言ってたよな。どういうことだよ。
言葉通りの意味です。私の本名は柊咲夜と言います。
Wow.
柊
I can't believe we're finally getting last names to these characters at the end of the game. They realize this is the first time they've ever heard her last name. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever heard her last name. Despite there being several siblings at St. Aria, neither ever neither ever realized the two shared a family name.
木に冬と書く柊に咲く夜で咲くやと言っても伝わらないとは思いますが、そしてこちらが柊義堂、私の兄です。
The familiar way she speaks to Guido, despite being several years younger, is more persuasive than anything she might have said.
咲夜が義堂の妹？はい。ですが、今はそれより。
昨夜、ちょうどいい。こいつらを連れて大通りまで戻れ。
嫌に決まってます。
There is a hint of affection buried beneath his curt request, so different from how he usually talks to underclassmen, but Sakuya brushes it off. What she says and does next resonates far deeper with Kotaha and Kyrie.
なぜだ？俺の言う通りにすると約束しただろう。
しましたね。
She agrees, followed by a paradoxical statement.
でも兄さんは私に嘘をついていましたね。
Okay.
自分も死ぬ気だったなんて、私これまで一度も聞いてませんよ。おかしいです。兄さんはそんな行動を取る人じゃないはずなのに。
She says with firm conviction. Never before, not even once. She sounded far surer of herself than if her belief was based on their relationship alone.
黙っていたのは謝ろう。だが、半端な芸術家のまま生きていくことなど、俺にはできない。
I mean, if we're thinking about it, from Sakuya's perspective, she spent like this year with Guido multiple times. She had time to mature, let's just say.
どうして今後の人生まで決めつけているんです？兄さんらしくありません。自暴自棄ですよ、それは。
So it's fine to kill everyone and not himself. I mean, there's gotta be a reason why she didn't try to stop Shu this loop.
それでも一度手がけた作品を完成させられなかった罪は消えない。俺はこの町の人間にとって許される存在ではない。
なんだ、わかってるんじゃないですか。皆さんのことが兄さんにとって大切だって。
それくらいはな。ただ、犠牲にしようとしていたのは事実。
反省してください、それなら。きっと皆さんも兄さんに言いたいことが山ほどあるはずです。
He heaves an exhausted sigh. After being lectured into stopping after already having given up, he seems to be at the end of his emotional rope.
ではなんだ。このままのうのうとこの町で生きろと。
いえ、それなら外で一緒に暮らしましょう。戻れる家はないかもしれませんが。
ごめんだな。
Feeling a rift forming between himself and Sakuya, he internally mourns the lack of a sympathetic ear. A world closed off from everyone else. Isn't that what he's always been? Isn't that what he's always been?
なすことも死ぬことも許されない。なら。
What is this gonna be? Uh-oh. He drops the brook and looks up at the sky. Kyrie and Kotaha have a brief moment of relief on seeing his exhaustion, as if he's given up on everything. It's only Sakuya who knows what's about to happen, ringing the alarm bells like never before. At that moment. I can't let you do that. There's one other person who knows exactly what Guido is about to do. Is this what happened? What I'm thinking is they both know exactly what he's going to do because this is what happens in the first time loop. The first go around or whatever, right? But then how would you explain how he stopped how Shu would have been able to stop the apocalypse? No. This is what happened during the first time loop, because then was when Shu actually knew that the apocalypse was going to happen, and then fucking Sakuya died in this explosion. I don't know. I think is Guido just going to blow up the, starting everything over with every mistake? That's what the people here won't forgive you. That's what the people here won't forgive you for. Interesting. Sakuya looks back over her shoulder. Standing there, breathing heavily, is Shu. He must have done something during the teacher's time loop. Right. I finally caught up to you. Guido and Kotaha are still facing each other. Kyrie watches from the sidelines while Sakuya stands between them. I can feel their thoughts swirling around me amid their softly fallen snowflakes.
Shu-kun.
Falling. Hey, did I make it in time? Well, considering no one's dead, yeah.
リリー先生の方はどうなったんだよ。
We came to an agreement. More importantly, I faced Guido for the first time. He has a look on his face. He has a look on his face I've seen before, and it scares me a little.
それはダメだと。何のことだ?
You may not have realized it, but you ate a red apple once. Which means you cannot wish for another chance. Right. That's the thing, right? Because the fucking headmaster died, my theory of the headmaster eating the apple is wrong. So then... But yeah, right? Here's the other thing, though. Guido ate the red apple, which is the reason for the first time loop of Sakuya going back, right? Guido and Sakuya, he forgot the memories of that happening. Let me think about it. Because the whole reason I'm confused about this, right, is because Guido should have been the same way as Yune, and in the fact that he would have been able to send Sakuya back in time without needing Yune's help, right? And just like Shu and Yune, the start of their time loop should be after they ate the apples, so that they would never be able to reverse that decision, right? Which is what Shu did with Yune, right? They I guess they didn't eat the apple, maybe. I'm not sure. That was more like that was pretty vague. He could have, right. God damn it. Maybe they'll explain it probably.
リン何を言っているシュ
Because, you know, Geto not remembering the time loops makes sense, right? He ate the red apple. He sent Sakuya back to the year
シュウ先輩
previous year, right? Sakuya stares at the ground, seemingly heartbroken. She and I are the only ones who fully understand what's going on here. He really is just like Yune. He doesn't remember any of the other timelines. The Apple of Wisdom grants the ability to turn back time at the expense of one's memories. Yeah, some fucking wisdom you are. Some fucking Apple of Wisdom? My ass, bro. What wisdom do you gain from being able to turn back time for the other person? But surely... Geto, do you remember our conversation about the girl who jumped through time?
覚えているがそれがどうした
Bad wisdom. Neither you nor Yuji believed me at the time, but I swear it's the truth. I've stood in this exact spot, on the exact date in December many times over. Well, I would expect it to be... I would expect it in the first timeline, yeah. But previous time loops, maybe? Well, here's the thing, right? It makes sense. Right, of Shu, the first time around, stopping Geto, Geto blows up, blah blah blah, right, and kills Sakuya, and that's how Sakuya is able to go back to the previous year, and then this is the confusing part, right? Because the only reason Sakuya knows how Shu is going to stop how Shu is going to stop the apocalypse is because Shu has always stopped the apocalypse before, right? Each time loop, Shu has stopped the apocalypse, but because Sakuya goes back further, and with the knowledge of how she was going to stop the explosions, how she was going to stop the apocalypse, she's able to stop his stopping of the apocalypse or whatever, right? God damn. It's hard to explain, but it's the only reason why Sakuya was able to know exactly how Shu was going to stop the apocalypse, right? In how she has essentially experienced this year twice as much as Shu? Maybe. God damn it. And there's one more thing. Something that neither Yune nor I ever saw coming. Geto, you're just like us.
何を言ってる
How much is online sales tax in your country? Dexter, did you forget our conversation about how GST is included in our prices? We don't know what I don't know what the sales tax is because it's always included in the original price. Like, his immediate denial is understandable. Unlike when I tried to persuade Kiria and Kotaha, and unlike Sakuya, Geto has absolutely no context. But I'm right, aren't I, Sakuya? What are you trying to do, Dexter? She remains silent. That I haven't trusted her with this final confrontation means no one but us knows what's really going on. Well, Yune knows what's going on, she just can't vocalize it because she lost her voice for reasons that, you know, the Apple of Wisdom allows you to turn back time for the person who ate the other apple, and if you're able to get your memories back of those times, you'll lose your voice so that you can't vocalize the wisdom that you've gained. What a fucking trade-off. Like I said, apple of wisdom, my fucking ass, bro. She's the only one who understands exactly what I mean. A look of resignation crosses her face for the first time.
お察しの通り、私はシュウ先輩と同じ青リンゴを食べた身です。
I mean, look, this isn't like a big fucking big surprise moment, right? We already figured that Sakuya was the one who ate the apple, considering she knew that Shu could go back in time. Like, right? I thought so. That's why you've been able to change your actions, just like me. What the fuck, Dexter? Another $10. What the? Right. What is going on? And if Sakuya is here, then her fundamental partner must be here as well.
兄、義堂が赤リンゴを食べた存在です。
What? Dexter, stop. 40 in total. Right. That the math does add up. But like what? I figured I first heard the two of them were siblings from Sister Lily herself. Has Sakuya been repeatedly reloading this time loop all by herself? Yes, that's the thing, right? Guido, there should be a version of Guido in that space, but for some reason he can't turn back time? Or am I overthinking this? Right? What if Guido... Fuck! Maybe he can. That's what I'm thinking, right? Maybe he can, but he isn't strong enough. So he needs Yune to help him, unknowingly help him turn Sakuya back. But then, how is he able to do it the first time? Right? Or was he just... He used all his strength the first time around. It's not implausible. Do the two of them work together like Yune and I have been? Well... No. The other thing, right? Because in a longer time period, right? The other thing, right? With my theory of Sakuya essentially has gone back twice as much as Shu, is when Shu succeeds in stopping the apocalypse, Sakuya and Guido are, you know, they're the only ones who could go back in time, right? So that's when Guido uses his powers to go back in time. Stream killing itself. I think that's... I think that's fucking... Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoding preset. Go fuck yourself, OBS. What does the stream look like? Oh boy. Yep. I love OBS. Well, at least, you know, the recording will be fine. Yeah. Look, either way, right? If my theory is right, then Guido has to have also been able to go back in time and also knows that he only has a set amount of times he's able to loop. He's able to send Sakuya back. So then he reserves those times for when Shu succeeds. Right? And when Shu fails, Sakuya uses Yune. Right? Am I overthinking this? I've asked that question too many times. Do the two of them work together like Yune and I have been? Or are they free to do what they want without regard of their respective apple? What was the only thing that was the only thing that remained a mystery to me, and yet the presence of Guido and the perpetrator and Sakuya's brother revealed the right answer. Yune controlled the flow of time, and I relived each loop. The relationship between Sakuya and Guido is exactly the same as between me and Yune.
シュウ先輩が本来起きる時間は今月の3日ですよね。
That's right. I ate the green apple the night of the 2nd and awoke on the 3rd.
私たちは去年の3日にリンゴを食べました。なので2017年の12月4日に私は何度も目覚めています。
Right. That's we know that. December 3rd of last year, the day Sakuya marked as her so-called save point. Since she's been reliving an entire year and a month with each repeated loop, even if we went back to the same number of times, her experience would always be 12 times longer than mine.
私たち以外にあのリンゴを食べる人が出てくるなんてことは正直想像もしていませんでした。
Yeah, no, here's the thing, right? You messed with fate by giving Sakuya the ability to go back in time, right? So then God was like, hang on a minute. You can't be disturbing fate like that. So we're gonna give Shu and Yune the ability to go back in time as well. But then how were they originally able to go back in time? Right? Fucking Amazing Grace, some shit. The color of their attribute is fucking green.
そもそも発生するメカニズムも謎ですし、原理もよくわかりません。
Like the color of the apple that allows Shu and Sakuya to go back in time. We need a counteract. Yeah. I feel the same way. There are several common denominators, such as the date the apples appeared, and how each pair was comprised of a man and a woman. That said, the exact conditions are still unclear. I don't know, did God want another Adam and Eve? So he chose he chose two people that were in close relations with each other and accidentally choose two siblings. Chose. More importantly, it's fairly nonsensical how the start of the loop is the moment of consumption. It's something I have no logical explanation for. Do you have a logical explanation for how you're able to go back in time? Amazing Grace. All I can get so far is the start of Advent triggers the save point and Christmas triggers the reload ability. Yeah, so and now, right, you've got Shu having the ability to go back to the 3rd of December 2018, right? And you got Sakuya who's able to go back to the 4th of December 2017, and then you have another two people who's able to go back to the 5th of December 2016. it